Okay, welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Now let's try to cover some territory here in our final three segments. We've just gone through the secret derivatives committee that meets every month. JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, Deutsche Bank, Union Bank of Switzerland, Barclays, Credit Suisse, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Citigroup, all under the chairmanship of ICE Trust with the sinister International Swaps and Derivatives Association lurking in the background. That's trust. That's cartel. Violates Sherman antitrust and Clayton antitrust. And, of course, Obama does nothing. And Holder, now we've got this new recess appointment, as I just mentioned. James Cole, the number 2 in the Department of Justice, a consultant for AIG. How about that? He was part of that credit default swaps monstrosity. So you want to stop speculators. We've given the program. Take a look at the 5-point program that's displayed at tarpley.net. In particular, the London ICE exchange, escaping even the very weak U.S. regulatory regime, was the main locus of the bidding up of the oil price to $150 during the summer of 2008. And we are headed there again. And let's see who's willing to fight. Let's see if the Tea Party is willing to fight to protect the American people from being raped by these oil speculators. The other thing, of course, the fraud closure crisis, and this goes on. Every week a new enormity. Obama had a chance to make that a political issue before the election. He struck out completely. He entered the fight on the wrong side. He entered the fight on the side of the bankers. Here we have the Wall Street Journal of today, Friday, December 31st, 2010. We have a story of a dead soul, and this is not the wonderful novel by Gogol, the Smrtные duši, but it's a dead soul, a woman who has been dead since 1995, who is nevertheless still active as a robo-signer in implementing illegal fraud closures for Portfolio Recovery Associates in lawsuits against borrowers. She died in 1995, yet her signature later appeared on thousands of affidavits submitted by Portfolio Recovery Associates Incorporated. And after Portfolio Recovery Associates were sued for fraud, they decided in early 2008 that any documents bearing the name of the late Martha Kunkel, anything that says Martha Kunkel on it, had defects and should not be used when trying to collect debts. And we even have facsimiles here in the Wall Street Journal. What are we waiting for? Stop fraud closures, uniform federal law, no fraud closure, no foreclosure on primary residence for 5 years or the duration of the Depression. Fraser-Lemke Act, 1935, apply it to primary residences. Obama could do this with regulations. Mrs. Warren could do it. My God, we're going to be talking about Mrs. Warren's profession if she doesn't do something soon. A new production of that just opened in Washington, D.C. How ironic, how embarrassing for Professor Warren. They could act under Dodd-Frank. There's got to be something in there. They could certainly act under the Trading with the Enemy Act and the Defense Production Act, given the fact that we have multiple states of emergency going. But no, instead what they're planning to do, this is now going to be the Environmental Protection Agency. They are going to try to drive up the price of oil even higher by implementing their lunatic crackpot carbon theories in the form of regulations. And will anybody fight? We'll be interested to see. So now, Obama. We are told by Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is boasting, this is the Republican leader in the Senate, of course, Mitch McConnell is boasting that the deal he just got for the rich plutocrats on the estate tax is better than what was obtained when the Republicans controlled the White House and both Congress houses. In other words, with George W. Bush in the White House, Hastert the Bastard running the House of Representatives, and McConnell running the Senate, they couldn't get the deal to sell out to the super-rich plutocrats, the Koch brother stratum of society. They couldn't get it, but now they got it thanks to Obama. Obama is worse than Bush in that sense, worse than Bush also in the sense that he's kept more troops in the field than Bush did just about every single day of his presidency. So That's McConnell. Now, we've got the new guy is from AIG, and we've also got the story with Berwick, right? Butcher Berwick, one of the top honchos of the Medicare program. He now says that it's time to reinstate these end-of-life counseling sessions, and much more serious than that even, Avastin has been banned. And again, the reactionaries call attention to this. The reactionaries, of course, are perfectly willing to have you die through the objective triage, the objective cost controls of the market, but they don't like the administrative cost controls. They want it to be done in this so-called anonymous, automatic way behind your back. But the story now is, in the Obamacare, we have a death panel. The real death panel is not even the end-of-life care. It's the Independent Payment Advisory Board. Independent Payment Advisory Board, IPAC, Independent Payment Advisory Board. I've talked on the program about the older forms of this, MedPAC and IMAC, but now you got to forget those. I won't repeat them again. It's now IPAC, Independent Payment Advisory Board, and they now say that Avastin, a potent but costly drug for advanced stage breast cancer, does not show a sufficient benefit in slowing disease progression to outweigh the significant risk to patients. Well, what risk? You're fighting for your life. The benefits are insufficient. Well, the thing is, of course, it's outrageously overpriced. It's probably developed with government research, but they want $90,000 a year for Avastin, and that's obviously not cost-effective. So they're telling a whole group of sick women that they are going to have to give up their lives to save the bottom line of Medicare, which has now been looted by Obama to the tune of $500 billion. That's the reality of Obama. It is genocide. This is the beginning of genocide against the American people, starting in the typical vile way with sick, helpless, defenseless women. Well, maybe they'll know how to fight back. Maybe somebody will. We don't want the Independent Payment Advisory Board making binding decisions which are binding. These are unelected, unappointed, unaccountable, pointy-headed bureaucrats, unless Congress can come up with equivalent cost savings in some other form, is what's written into this Obama bill. So remember, Obama was the one who said, well, after my mother had cancer, maybe it was a bad idea to invest in a hip replacement for her. He's told you that you can't eat what you want, you can't have the kind of car you want, you can't have the temperature in your house that you want. Guy's a Malthusian, and again, as Berg says, quicker we dump them, better it is all around. So we'll be back in just a minute here on World Crisis Radio.